Tell everyone to tune in. It is time to get caught up with Bishop Dee Gales and change the way you view the world.
I'm a hell of my B, U, crooked letter I, N, E, crooked letter, crooked letter. Let's go. I'm a handle my business. I'ma be about my business. I'ma go and handle this business. Cause it's kingdom. I'ma handle my business. I'ma be about my business. I'ma go and handle this business. Cause it's kingdom. I'ma handle my business. Hit the streets hard, can I get a witness? You best be listening or you gon' miss it. You best to keep yourself in tip-top business. Bringing in men like we willing and vicious. Love to eat the word and hate to clean the dishes. Now unto him that can exceed all of your wishes. Can overcome a million of Judas's kisses. We love on the thug and pray for the misses. Feed the hungry, now that's my business. Preach to the poor, now that's my business.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me again this week. So we're going to be talking about something that I'm sure almost everybody has heard about. If you've been following the news at all or on social media at all, you've heard about the Daniel Penny situation where Jordan Neely was choked to death on the subway. So what I wanted to do is kind of give my perspective on this situation, because a lot of what I've been seeing about this has really been disturbing to me. And I think the biggest problem that I have with it is that people are trying to make this situation a racial issue. And to me, this is not a racial issue. And if we make it a racial issue, then you're going to have two sides. And you're going to have people who are going to be against it. It's going to be on Daniel Penny's side just because it's a racial issue, or people that are not going to see Jordan Neely's side just because it's a racial issue. To me, this whole situation is a common sense issue. This is not about race. As much as people might want to think it's about race, it's really not about race. It's about common sense as human beings. Now, could his actions probably have been prompted by race? Possibly, because maybe if it was a white guy acting like that on the train, he may not have done what he did. But to me, this is really not a racial issue when it comes to how this needs to be handled and how this needs to be viewed. To me, it's just a common sense issue. That man, Jordan Neely, was not physically touching anyone. He had not hit anyone. He had not struck anyone. He had not done anything to anybody. And from what I've heard, just throughout the media, there's been certain things that has been stressed about him, to make it appear that he was, dangerous or a threat to people, because I'm hearing both sides of the spectrum. I don't listen to just liberal media. I don't listen to this conservative media. I try to listen to both sides of everything. Now, when I was watching the news when it first came out on the Fox network, they really did a strong job of trying to portray Daniel Penny as a hero. They did a very strong job of trying to portray Jordan Neely as some kind of unhinged, violent person. And I do know from his history, he has been violent in the past. I do see that. I acknowledge that. But to me, this situation and this whole entire thing is not black and white to me. This is just a matter of common sense. Do you have a right to physically restrain someone just because they are saying things that don't make you feel comfortable? Just because they are saying things that you think might mean that they're going to do something, but they haven't done anything. And this is what I got a problem with this whole situation. Had Jordan Neely actually hit someone at that moment, then maybe I could understand the need to physically restrain him. If he had, done something, as an act of aggression towards other people, more than just throwing his coat off, or, I don't know. But from what I can tell, from what I've heard about this situation thus far, there was nothing that he did that warranted the reaction that he got from Daniel Penny. And see, and that's the basis of self-defense in the state of New York. It's not that you can't act if you perceive somebody is going to be a threat, but your action can't supersede the perceived threat. Because at that point, he had never hit anybody, he had never touched anybody. And so to kill him based on anything that has been publicized that he said is not an equal reaction to what he was doing at that moment when it happened. So I took it upon myself and I went to a law firm website to kind of get some understanding on the self-defense law and what you are allowed to do in an act of self-defense when it comes to New York. Now, people seem to think just because you're a conservative person that you can't, and I want to take a moment to say this because I often get this as a conservative Black female, that the moment I speak out or speak up for the victimization of a Black person, I am automatically assumed to be a Democrat leftist. And I'm not by any stretch of the imagination. I actually voted for Donald Trump in the last election. I have no problem with saying that. But I'm not speaking out on this issue because I feel like Daniel Penny was possibly racist. And I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying that he is. I'm speaking out on this incident because do we really want to, in this society, okay someone physically restraining a person, choking them to the point of death just because of something they said that can be perceived as a threat. Do we really want to say that that's okay? Without any action taken on the part of the person who is, because you got to understand there is a such thing as free speech. So, and I haven't seen any video where this man was saying anything that warranted, him being choked to death. I just haven't seen it. And so, and at that time that the incident took place, we got to remember that Daniel Penny did not know Jordan Neely's criminal background. So it bothers me that what I see in the media is a lot of people putting emphasis on Jordan Neely's background as it somehow solidifies Daniel Penny's actions. And to me, it doesn't. The only way it solidifies Daniel Penny's actions is if he had prior knowledge of Jordan Neely's background, which there's no evidence to that fact. And the fact that there are witnesses that I have heard through media, allegedly, that attest to the fact that Jordan Neely was not doing anything at that time that warranted him being choked to death. It's just, there's nothing there. And then the reason why, and I know this has been going on for a while, but the reason why I'm speaking on it now, because I'm one of those type of people, I choose to pull back. I did do a TikTok video about it, but I choose to pull back and I not let emotions guide my opinion when it comes on the situation. Because I can say, oh, he was racist and he did that to a black man, and I don't necessarily think that either. But I do think that maybe he might have not done it had that been a white guy acting like that. I don't know. But I can't say definitively that this man was racist in any way, shape, or form. But I will read the law to you. New York Penal Law 35.15 authorizes the use of physical force when and to the extent the person reasonably believes that the force is necessary to defend either herself or himself or another person from what the person reasonably believes to be imminent use of physical force or the actual use of physical force. So if you just go by the face of that, then you can say, oh, well, Daniel Penny had a reasonable belief that Jordan Neely was going to do something because he was supposedly, allegedly, saying that. Even though the phrases that they were saying, that the man was saying, just don't make grammatical sense to me. It just doesn't sound like something that somebody who is supposed to be out of their mind and on drugs would be saying. It just, what he's saying that he said, just, it doesn't match up with the condition mentally and physically that they're saying that this guy was in. He was drugged up and crazy. Like, for him to be making the type of statements that Daniel Penny is saying that he was using that terminology doesn't make sense to me. That it just doesn't make sense to me. So if you go by just the first few phrases of the penal code, you would think, okay, well, Daniel Penny is justified. No, you have to keep on reading. So the term reasonably used is used twice in the penal law, because this is whether or not to the extent the force is used must be reasonable, but also the belief that the force is necessary because the force is about to be used against another person must be reasonable. So you can't, okay, so if I smack you, you can't turn around and pull out a gun and shoot me dead. So it has to be some kind of equity there. So because Jordan Neely had not actually physically assaulted anybody at that time, I know he had prior convictions, but because Jordan Neely had not physically did anything to anyone, and what Daniel Penny's actions led to his death, That's not equitable. So then self-defense on Daniel Penny's part doesn't line up with the law. If he had just restrained Jordan Neely, then he would be covered from any type of assault charge because that's equitable. But when you choke him to the point that he dies, that becomes no longer equitable under the law in the state of Ohio, in the state of New York, for self-defense. So, and it bothers me that, because I posted a video on TikTok about this, and a lot of conservative, right-wing, non-black people seem to be so okay with what happened. And that's what's making it racial. It's not that what I think Daniel Penny did on his face is racist, but the response to what happened is bringing out racism and racial views, and to me that is clouding the common sense nature of this crime, because it's just common sense. Do I have a right to choke somebody to death just because they saying some things that I perceive as inappropriate? No. And I think the society is getting so caught up in the racial aspect of what happened, is that to the point that everybody's just getting away from the common sense of what happened. Just common sense. Do I have a right to choke somebody to death because of what they're saying and how they're acting? And then there are witnesses that say that Daniel Penny was actually more of the aggressor in the situation than Jordan Neely. So I'm gonna play some things for you. And I'm noticing the news coverage on this, and that's also bothering me too. Because the news coverage on this is really trying to portray Daniel Penny as some type of hero. And in my eyes, he's not a hero, because what he did was completely out of line. He had no right to do what he did. And the fact that they're trying to use his prior military status and the perceived fear of everybody else around him, which is not really verified by people's responses and reactions to what he was doing. And I think that's the reason why media is trying to try this case in the media. Because notice the difference between when George Floyd was choked to death versus this young man's death. We were able to see the full video of what those officers did with George Floyd. I scoured the internet trying to find the full video of Jordan Neely's unfortunate demise. I could not find the full video. It's a 3-minute video. Mostly all I can see is like a couple of snippets in seconds, but it doesn't show the whole video, because in the whole video, there are things in other parts of that video, there are things being said to Daniel Penny that people don't want getting out there, because once that gets out there, it puts a whole different light on the situation. And so I was able to find a little bits of snippets of the other parts of the video that shed light on the fact that even if Daniel Penny claims that he didn't mean to choke this man to death, there were people warning him that his actions while he was doing them could possibly lead to death. So if he was being warned not once but twice, but more than once, that hey, you need to adjust how you're doing it. You need to turn him on his side so he don't choke on his own spit. Hey man, you better be watching yourself because you can catch a murder case. So it was brought to his attention while he was doing what he was doing, that what he was doing could possibly lead to this man's death. So for me, it totally negates anything that Daniel Penny is saying when he said, oh, well, I didn't mean to. So if I'm pointing a gun at somebody and somebody tells me, hey, watch what you're doing because you might accidentally shoot somebody. Hey, turn that gun the other way because you might accidentally shoot somebody. And I continue to act recklessly, I can't then turn around and say, oh, well, I didn't mean it, because there were several warnings that my actions could lead to this end result. So to me, his actions borderline on premeditation. And I know there's certain qualifiers, but if you're being warned several times while committing the act that what you're doing could possibly lead to death and you catching a murder case, then how are your actions not deliberate? How are your actions then at that point not premeditated and thought out, because you had to think to keep holding him and choking him after people are warning you and telling you that, hey, what you're doing could possibly kill him, and you choose to keep doing it after those warnings? That's not an accident to me. And see, this has nothing to do with race, because the reason why I don't have nothing to do with race to me, because I feel like the other two men that was helping him, restrain him, holding his feet, holding his arms, this man had no way of defending himself, because you had not one but three grown men holding this little tiny man. This man, he may have been tall, but he was so slim. Holding this man. All three of them need to be charged with second-degree manslaughter. Not just Daniel, but all three of them, just like when George Floyd was choked to death by one officer, all of the officers standing around who allowed and enabled that officer to choke him were also charged. How is it that you get to hold a man down and help hold a man down while he's choked to death and you're not charged? And I'm aware of the fact that one of the men that was helping Daniel Penny was black, and they're trying to use that to Daniel Penny's favor. No, it doesn't, because I'm not looking at the race. I'm looking at three men physically accosting and holding a man while one of them choke him to death. All three men need to be on trial. Not just Daniel Penny. Okay? Look at these pictures. You see that man laying here. You see, look at this. Look at this. Look at this is what I wanted to bring to y'all attention. The paramedics are not there. Okay? They said that he was pronounced dead when he got to the hospital. I want y'all to look at those three men and how they're standing around this man's body. To me, he looks dead laying right there. Look how they standing around their body. The one guy in the black jacket, the white guy in the back, just looking down at him like he's nothing. Daniel Penny not even looking at him. The black dude not even looking at him. Nobody checked to see if that man was alive or not. Nobody checked to see if he was breathing. Nobody tried CPR or anything to make sure that this man was okay. I believe they already knew he was dead. That's a Marine standing there. Don't you think he know when somebody's dead or not? And look at his face. There's not an ounce of concern for that man right there. Not an ounce of concern. Nobody has an ounce of concern. All three of them are trash to me. And I'm more angry at this man right here. I'm more angry at him because how dare you hold another man down and another man that looks just like you until the point that he is dead. How dare you? And then you see the guy standing back there. He looks completely, he looks in shock and completely disgusted. Okay? Just soak that picture in. Soak this picture in. Look at it. Look at that. Those, you see how, look at that man's arms. Look how skinny he is. And look how thick and big these guys are. You know what I mean? To tell me that this man had no choice but to put his arm around his neck to restrain him? Those three men could have held him by his arms and restrained him. Nobody needed to put their arm around his neck to restrain him. Once those other two gentlemen came on the scene, there was no reason why Daniel Penny couldn't have let that man's neck go. They killed that man. And see, notice how I'm not focusing on black, white, whatever. I'm focusing on 3-on-1. There was no reason why all three of these men could not have restrained this man without him being choked to death. Why didn't Daniel Penny let him go once the other two men came on the scene? Now, this is just common sense. This has nothing to do with black, white, brown, and nothing. This is just common sense. And see, people want to make this a race issue when it's not a race issue. This is look at that. 3 of them on him. And you mean to tell me that Daniel Penny had to hold on to that man's neck long enough until he died with these 2 big men helping him? Look how skinny that man's arms is. This angers me. Okay? Now, this is a video of the exact same day. The exact same train ride. This is a video of what Jordan Neely was doing a few moments prior to being choked to death. I'm going to play it. I can't play all of it, but due to fair use, I can play some of it.
Is right. 13 to milk. TV Popeye, 13 to Seltzer, milk TV and drink, that's happy. 13 to milk, food healthy, that's milk. Seltzer to drink, 13 to milk. Food TV Popeye, 13 to drink, TV milk, 13 to food. Drink hungry, I need to survive, milk, Seltzer. Drink hungry, that's happy.
Put up the picture, what happened to Mr. Neely later. I want you to see that. I want you to look at that. A couple of things I want you to remember. Number one, multiple individuals did try to stop Mr. Neely from dying. Multiple witnesses have come forward and said Mr. Neely was not threatening nor putting anyone in danger. As a matter of fact, it was the killer who was agitated and became the aggressor. Multiple individuals also attempted to stop and to check on Mr. Neely. They attempted to stop these individuals from simply surrounding him. They were told to step back. What you saw, ladies and gentlemen, was a killing by an individual who's trained to kill.
And see, and that's the thing I brought up in my TikTok video when I spoke about this. They want to bring up that he's an ex-Marine as if what he was doing was instinctual and to protect other people. But as an ex-Marine, trained by our United States government to kill people, there's no way he didn't know what his actions could lead to. And then you had other people warning him that his actions could cause that man to die. Turn him on his side. Get him off his back so he don't choke on his own spit. These are what passengers were telling him. This is what witnesses say happened. There's a reason why they won't air that full 3-minute video. There's something that those prosecutors saw that we haven't seen. The reason why they charged that man. Because and look at his face. Just look at his face. He's looking at him. There's no way. And then while he got his arm around his neck, you got this man holding his arms. Another man. There was no reason why at that point Daniel Penny still needs to have his arm around his neck. There's no reason at that point he could let his neck go. He got 2 other people helping him. This is why you can't tell me you don't know what your actions is doing. You don't know that you are possibly killing that man. Let's finish listening.
Johnny Grima, who is a well-known homeless activist in the city and a former resident of Anarchy Row, just happened to be traveling on the same train when Mr. Neely, 30 years of age, was put into a headlock by ex-Marine Daniel Penny. Grima has slammed the attack as racist, saying that there was no consideration for Neely's life because he was black, homeless, and poor.
Now, I'm not necessarily agreeing with the fact that Daniel Penny's actions was based on race. I don't want to put that label on him, but it does beg the question that if this was a white homeless guy, would he have done the same thing? But I'm not putting it on this man that he's racist. I'm not doing that. I just feel like there was a depraved indifference for human life, period, on parts of all 3 men. And I feel like all 3 men should have been charged with that man's death, not just Daniel Penny, the other 2 that helped him, just like they charged all of the officers in George Floyd's death. I feel like all 3 of these men need to be charged in Jordan Neely's death.
He recalled how he told people to put the man on his side to stop him from choking on his own spit, but he was told to stop by Penny as he watched the life drain from Mr. Neely's eyes on the F train. In a video of the incident, Grima can be heard and seen moments after Neely stopped moving. He's now admitted he regrets walking away from the scene. The witness was heard saying, and I quote, "Don't put him on his back, though. He might choke on his own spit. Put him on his side." Okay? Now, let's talk about the real problem.
And see, this is the key thing about listening to all types of media. You don't have to receive everything that's said. You don't have to believe everything that's said, but you do need to hear different perspectives on a situation, because notice none of that you hear on Fox. And I'm a conservative. Like I told y'all, I voted for Donald Trump. I'm a conservative, but I'm also black. So I have to listen to all types of media so I can get the full picture and full understanding. Because if I had never clicked on this video, I would have never known that people were telling Daniel Penny, hey, get him off his back, put him on his side. I would have never known that somebody told Daniel Penny, hey, man, you gonna wind up catching a case. So there was people warning Daniel Penny that what he was doing could lead to the man's death while he was doing it. There were people telling him he might catch a case while he was catching the case. To me, there's just no excuse here.
Obviously, we saw murder. Obviously, we saw a man get exterminated by somebody else. Unarmed, no threat to anyone. And this person isn't even a cop. He's not sworn to do anything. He's not even active military. But he's getting treatment as if somehow his actions are favored. I guarantee you, if Mr. Neely would have felt threatened by Mr. Penny and did the same thing, the result would be different.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next little video and play just a little bit of it, because I don't want to get in trouble with anybody's copyrights, but on fair use we can share a little bit. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this video.
Was acting erratically on the subway last week, screaming about being hungry and tired.
Out of the club. Now look at that. You got all those men there. At that point, Daniel Penny, if he's not trying, he said he wasn't trying to kill him, right? So at this point, if Daniel Penny is not trying to kill this man, being an ex-Marine, knowing what he's doing could possibly kill him, why didn't he let him go when the other two men came to help? See, we got to think with a little common sense here. Because if the media let you play the racial wars, y'all ain't going to look at it with common sense. At the point that these two men are helping him restrain him, Daniel Penny needs to let go of his neck if he's not purposely trying to kill him. And we got to stop thinking that these people are not purposely trying to kill him. We can't say that Daniel Penny is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this man is a white supremacist. I'm not saying that he's racist. But we can't say that he's not. We can't say that he didn't plan what he did, knowing that this man be on that train. Because he's a regular. How do we know what's going on in the hearts and minds of people? We can't say that this wasn't intentional. Because if it's not intentional, why did he not? That's my question. When the other two men came to help you, Mr. Penny, if I'm the prosecutor asking you questions, if you were not trying to kill this man, then why did you not let his neck go when the other two men came to help you restrain him until the police came? Why did you continue to choke him? Why didn't you stop, Mr. Penny, when people warned you that you need to put him on his side so he don't choke to death, Mr. Penny? You're a military officer. You understand what's going on because you've been trained in this, sir. Why did you not stop when the passenger said, hey, sir, you could possibly catch a case for what you're doing? Why didn't it click in your brain to stop, sir, if you're not trying to kill him and you got two other people helping you? We got to think with common sense. Ain't everything an accident.
That's when video lasting nearly 3 minutes shows Marine veteran Daniel Penny with Neely in a chokehold.
And look, and if you look at his face, now go back, I can't rewind this because it won't let me, but his face, you see how his Daniel Penny's face, his mouth does like this, and it's like he's tightening the hold now that he got other people helping him, instead of doing the opposite of releasing it a little bit.
As at least one onlooker warns, it could be fatal. Neely was pronounced.
He said you're going to catch a murder charge. Like he's letting him know, man, what you're doing could possibly be killing this man. And he doesn't let him go. There's no way a rational, reasonable person can look at that and say he did not mean to kill him. What? And so they got him on every news outlet, trying to play like he the hero. I hope they put this man under the jail. I hope they put him under the jail. I do. I hope they put him under the jail and then go back and get those 2 guys that was helping him and charge them with accessory to manslaughter, accessory to murder, whatever you could charge them with. And I feel like manslaughter shouldn't have been a charge. You should have been charged with murder. Flat out, because that's what it was. When you got people warning you that your actions could lead to that man's death while you're in the middle of doing it, when you're a trained killer, a trained Marine Army officer, no, you don't get to get manslaughter. You should have been charged with murder. Let's listen to a little bit of this.
A man came on, stumbled on, he appeared to be on drugs.
Appeared to be on drugs. What does that look like? If he's already mentally insane and crazy, then the way he acted may not even have nothing to do with drugs at all. But see how they're trying to plant the seed? That, oh, I thought he was on drugs. No, you can't say that. Because there are plenty of people that get high and be on drugs and don't never hurt nobody. But they're trying to plant the seed in everybody's mind, which is, to me, allowing Daniel Penny to do all these interviews before his trial is tainting the jury pool. He's tainting the jury pool. And he should be gagged. Why is there not a gag order? Why is he allowed to be on every news outlet pleading his case before the American people? I've never seen another defendant, unless they rich or not black, be allowed to be on every news outlet pleading their case in the media. This is a travesty of justice to me, that this is even being allowed for him to do. That you can get away with killing a man just because you didn't like the way he was acting. Even if he was acting inappropriately, you didn't have a right to kill him, and you don't have no excuse for killing him because you had 2 other grown men helping you hold him, and you continue to choke the life out of him. That's murder. That ain't even manslaughter, because you intentionally did it, because you had people telling you that what you was doing could kill him, and you kept doing it anyway. I hope they put him under the jail. Put him under the jail.
The doors closed, and he ripped his jacket off and threw it at the people sitting down.
And he said as soon as that man got on the train, he ripped his jacket off and threw it at the people. Now, we see the video of him on the train. Did he rip his, was his jacket still on? So he didn't rip it off as soon as he got on the train, because he's standing on the train talking with his jacket on. So you see how the media is allowing him to get on here and paint the picture. So then when he's found guilty and he's doing that, they're allowing him to do this so he can get his GoFundMe to pay for his trial. Over $2 million this man has made for his defense, because he's allowed to parade his tail across media playing the hero. And see, I'm on right-wing posts a lot because I agree with conservative views, so I get to see what a lot of right-wing people say. And they always say it's not about race. We're all saying we're all bleed this, we're all bleed that, we're all bleed that. No. But I have a problem with that, because how can any of you who have supported this man look at any of this situation rationally and then donate to his defense fund? And see, this is the type of stuff that angers people, and I'm not just going to say black people, because there's some white people angry about this. How is it that you all can get the facts of this case, if you tried to get the facts of this situation thus far, and give this man money to defend himself for killing a helpless, unarmed man while he had two people helping hold him down while he choked the life out of him? This is the reason why I wanted to speak. Because I feel like there needs to be a different perspective on what the media is portraying about this situation. There's no way.
To my left, I was listening to music at the time, and he was yelling, so I took my headphones out to hear what he was yelling. And the three main threats that he repeated over and over was, I'm going to kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die.
Okay, so I done been in the hood enough. I done seen all kind of crazy. I grew up in the project. I done seen all kind of crazy. I ain't never heard no level of crazy come out their mouth with, I'm prepared to go to jail for life. Hey, no. I don't believe for a second Jordan Neely said that. I don't believe for a second. Now, I don't know if he could have said, I'm going to kill you. I don't know that. But that I'm prepared to go to jail for life. Now, he supposed to be crazy and on drugs, but he's making those, he's speaking, what's the word, eloquently enough. Now, we just saw the video of how this man was actually talking, but yet, hold on. Thank you, Jesus. Now, we just saw the video of how this man was talking on this. He wasn't even, you couldn't even understand half of what that man was saying because it wasn't making no sense. But yet, Daniel Penny wants us to believe that this man said this.
To go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die. Jail for life, and I'm willing to die.
Hold on. Let's look at this again.
I kill you.
I'm prepared
to go to jail for life.
I'm prepared to go to jail for life.
This was a scary situation. And
now he wants us to believe that man that we just saw in the video was making those clear and concise statements when you could barely understand anything he was saying. It sounded like gibberish. He was talking about coffee. I don't believe nothing this man's saying. Nothing.
Mr. Neely came on. He was threatening. I'm 6'2", and he was taller than me. So it was, and there's a common misconception that Marines don't get scared. We're actually taught one of our core values is courage, and courage is not.
And you can tell that he's being cued what to say. You can see him reading a little bit with his eyes because you can see him shifting and somebody's telling him what to say. You can see he's being coached.
The absence of fear, but how you handle fear. And, I was scared for myself, but I looked around, I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces, saying these threats.
Look, like I said, I done lived in the project. I done been around all kind of crazy and wasn't even scared. Didn't fear for my life at all. And you mean to tell me a trained killer? And then what is you doing on the subway anyway as an ex-Marine? Why you don't got no car? But I guess they travel different in New York. But needless to say, you a trained killer. You would have probably been in more dangerous scenarios than a subway, and you sitting up there scared. Man, come on now. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. None of this is fooling me. And to me, all three of them men, let me go back. All three of these men look like some type of police, military. Look at all three of them got on backpacks. They look like a hit squad to me. That's what they look like. They look like a straight hit squad. They're like some old secret ops stuff that was going on right here. This is deeper to me. But hey, what do I know? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I just wanted to kind of talk to y'all about this, give y'all my 2 cents on this situation. To me, I call BS on it all. And I hope Jordan Neely gets put under a jail. But if this was a scheduled planned thing, like I think if it was an ops thing, Because, I mean, once again, look at this picture. All three of them got on backpacks. Look how they all dressed compared. I mean, it's just, to me, it looks like this was a stage playing type situation. I don't think it was as random as we think this is. But, hey, what do I know? And that could be the reason why we don't have the identities of those other two men yet, because it might be some coincidences going on there. It might be some linkage that they don't want the American people to put together to know that this is some bull crap that we getting fed right now. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a regular person like y'all. I love y'all. Take care. I'm out.
Hey yo, you already know what it is. You already know what it is. When the right in this club, you get right. When we get top, so they can't get knocked off. With that top, so they can't get knocked off. Can we live it low on the hot song? So you can kingdom is life for us. So you can't risk it ain't on. Even though we can't risk it on. Don't leave that front back. I live loose, space and I drop back. I live loose, space and I drop to them. Ballin' fresh out the brick, no top, yeah, fresh out the brick. Forward, I be at an out, so forward after the out. Really more concerned about the past. You really more concerned about the cash on roll. Like the wheels on a Cadillac. For the classic Cadillac. Thank God for that classic flow. Thank God for that classic flow. Key to the God, let's go. Kingdom of God, let's go.
Jesus said that I am the way. Jesus said that I am the way, the truth, and no man cometh to the Father except for by me. You need Jesus. Secure your place in heaven now by saying this prayer. I love you, Jesus. I admit today that I am a sinner. I ask you by faith through grace to forgive me of my sins. I believe in my heart that you died for me. I thank you for coming to earth in a fleshly body and dying on the cross for the forgiveness of my sins. I believe that you rose from the dead on the third day and with all power over Satan. I believe that you have left me this same power to defeat the very devil that tried to defeat you. I thank you for forgiving me of my sins with your saving grace, righteousness, and deliverance power to free me from being a slave to sin. I ask you to guide me in all things through the ministry of the Holy Ghost. Give me the ability to understand the hidden truths in your word. I ask you for your wisdom, a loving heart, and a genuine desire to help others by fulfilling your will for my life. Jesus, I believe you are the Son of God. You are the Word that became flesh. Jesus, you are the Lord of my life, and my will is your will. The Word of God now rules me. The Holy Spirit, please dwell in me. Lead me to the church that you would have me to go to. In Jesus' name, amen.